Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast. I'm your host, Dana Lynn Kay. We're in a new podcast studio today. We used to be in like a fishbowl. That's what I like to call it. It was like all glass and people walking by and like they'd like be peering in the windows, and I'm like, hi, we're recording. But anyway, we're in a new studio, and it's actually, we've got comfy chairs. Yes. This is a really fun episode. This is different. I know when you guys join in a lot, it's, we do talk a lot about health and fitness and all of that stuff, but devotion is a lifestyle, and it's mind, body, soul, all of those things that make up your healthy lifestyle. And one area of our lives and lifestyle, love, relationships, all of those things. And I think that's really important. That's one area of my life that I felt like if it, when I finally found love and it was right, your life feels a little bit more in balance, or you feel, not saying that you can't be balanced if you don't have it, but when it's right and it fits, it's like very harmonious feeling. Yeah. And it's not easy for everyone to find it. So my guest today, well, first of all, I do have Kelley in the, you all know Kelley, my right-hand woman. So Kelley's here, but Mary Kate is here from Mary Kate Matchmaking.
Hello, everyone.
And we met a couple years ago, I guess now at a women's
3
event.
Years,
and we hit it off, and we had great chats, and I love what you're doing, and I follow you on social media, and I follow, and even though like I'm out of the dating game, what you say still, I mean, it's just amazing. Your tips, all of your advice. So having you on felt really exciting for me, because I felt like to share your information with our followers and our listeners. And also it's like relationship advice too, that you give. So I benefit from it too. And then Kelley's here also. I reached out to her this morning because Kelley has, Kelley's been in all three of us are sitting here divorcees. Like we've been married before. And so Kelley's right now in the situation where she's still trying to find her perfect match. I love it that you're not settling, and that you're she's holding strong for finding that right person. But I felt like we could chat about this, and then Mary Kate could give Kelley some advice. We could kind of troubleshoot where Kelley's at.
I'm
gonna get ganged up on here.
Well, here's the thing. You wrote to me because I said some ideas, and you wrote to me saying one of the things, it's like a person could be so awesome and they're still single. Why? And it's like, why? Because I look at Kelley and I'm like, oh my gosh, Kelley's so fun. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's like all these things. Like, why is it so hard for Kelley to find someone? What is going on? So why don't you, right?
I mean, I know exactly why it's so hard for me to find someone.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Wait, let's start there. Let's start there.
Okay, so I'm a Christian, but not just in name only.
Yeah.
So I am looking for someone with the same belief system that I have. And a lot of people say that they are, but they think of Christianity as a religion, and it's not. It's a relationship. So I'm looking for someone that is living that out. And so many people, I did the Bumble thing for like a year and a half.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's so disheartening. Because so many people check that box. That they are, but then
on the surface.
Exactly. It's just a surface thing. And I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something with substance. And so
you're not alone. So I actually work with a lot of Christian singles. I'm not particularly just a Christian matchmaker. There are Christian matchmakers. But that's the biggest obstacle they say. They're like, I don't know if I'm pigeonholing myself. I'm like, no. You cannot give like discounts to your non-negotiables.
Oh,
clearly,
100%.
This is a non-negotiable of yours. So you have to stay true to yourself, or else you're going to end up regretting or making a mistake.
Absolutely, 100%.
And so, it's the lifestyle piece. I work with one woman in particular. She's like, they need to walk the walk. Like, it's like you volunteer, not only go to your church.
I serve, I volunteer, I attend church weekly, I'm in small groups.
Yes.
I do all the things. I mean, Jesus is central in my life. And so in order for me to submit to a man, that man is going to have to be submitted to Jesus.
Sure.
So that's how it works. It's God, husband, wife, children. So it's that order that I'm looking for. And if he can't submit to them, then he can't lead me. And I need a strong leader.
And in that community, though, like since you are so involved, other single men?
Not my age.
That's what she complains about too. She's I'm not sure how old you are, but she's 48. Okay. She's 48 and she's like, no, everyone's like in their like late 20s, 30s,
Yes.
So I understand it is difficult, but your person is out there. And I still would encourage you.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I do. I believe that.
You have to. There you go. You have to believe that. You have to know that. And involve yourself in other activities too. Like, for example, even outside of your church, there are other still spiritual get-togethers, like religious get-togethers. Maybe it's not part of the church, but there's other churches under the realm of Christianity. Yeah. So,
well, I do. I go to Victory sometimes. I go to a Calvary Bible study. So, I mean, I'm
putting yourself out there.
Yes, I am exploring. I just, I just think he's sitting there somewhere being prepared because he has no idea what he's getting into.
He's still preparing. Yes. He's bracing. He's preparing.
And meanwhile, you're putting yourself out there. And Christian singles match. Like, there's a dating app for that.
Yeah, that was also disheartening.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know you tried that one.
Didn't even do that like for maybe a month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's It
was really bad. That was a real okay. All right.
You're not alone,
that was even worse.
girl. You're not.
No, she's definitely not. She's not my only person that I know.
Nothing anymore. I'm like, okay, you know what? Jesus, take the wheel.
Amen. Amen.
That's where it's going to come
Give it
from.
up.
Yeah.
Have you
surrendered?
Have you put down your list of non-negotiables?
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have it written down as a list, but I know what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many are there?
Okay, let's think about it.
That long?
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait.
No, but I mean, at top of the list is he has to love Jesus.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that we know. That box Jesus, has to be checked.
I mean, as far as, what do you mean, not like non-negotiables? I mean, in decent shape.
Okay, so he leads
doesn't have any toddlers.
Lifestyle.
Didn't go through a midlife crisis and have a second batch.
Okay.
Or anything like that. Because there are ones that, they're already, like, Caitlin is 30 and my granddaughter just turned 3. So I don't want to date someone who has a 3-year-old child. They can have grandchildren, but not,
you want to be available in this time in their life.
Yeah,
I guess
so somebody that is not, that's not tied down to anything else. They're already, maybe their children are already graduated because then, you're not tied to the ex.
Okay, so that's right now, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Right now, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. So everyone at this stage of the game doesn't want someone with baggage, but everyone has baggage.
Yes.
Everyone has suitcases of baggage when you get to your 50s.
Yeah.
They just do. Like, that's because you've lived
50
plus years, you know?
Yeah.
So why not? So expecting that people don't have baggage, like, and it's like, when you love someone, you love all of them.
Yes.
And again, fortunately, their baggage does not have to, you don't have to take on their baggage.
Exactly.
But I think you have that mindset that maybe potentially you will have to. That's not your baggage. That's his suitcase. You got your own suitcase over here.
Yes.
So try not to go with the mindset. It's like, oh, they can't have this show. They can't have that. Like, just focus on the being. Focus on the person themselves, what they're bringing to the table, and focus on what you're bringing to the table. But fundamentally, what are their values?
Yes.
Because everyone has a past.
Yes.
Are we gonna let that past
absolutely.
dictate their present, though?
No, not unless it's still in their present. Because some people haven't let it go.
Well, then, they haven't done it.
They have to have done the work. To do that, because I've done a lot of work to let go of a lot of things.
But again, there's so many just fundamental things. That's why I always say, date them till you hate them. Date them till you hate them, because as long as they're first preliminary, like crushing those big boxes, the Christian part, is a big one for you. Then you find out later things down the road. For example, like, you don't know, like, maybe they've said they've done the healing and all that, and like maybe like, oh yay, green lights, but you don't know how they're going to be triggered when like you get them upset like a month later in traffic or 2 months later, It's like,
I did that. I mean, I dated a couple of guys that I actually thought, they checking boxes and all that other kind of good stuff, and went out, had a great time. Do you remember that? The fireman from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, good old farmer.
Oh, fantastic. And then wanted to come down, and I said, great, we're going to church on Sunday. He said, well, I can drop you off and I'll go to the gym. I said, so you want to come down and we're going to, spend the weekend or do whatever, but you can't carve out that 1 or 2 hours to do something, regardless of what it was.
Yeah.
You knew who I was going in. We had a long conversation about values and where we had been and past relationships and kind of expectations, because I don't want to waste any time. I want somebody to know who I am going in. So that was the other thing is on the apps, nobody tells the truth. I put on there equally yoked. I want to be equally yoked. I don't want to have, that I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative. I'm a grandmother.
All
these things, is I'm out there and telling the truth, and then people are checking boxes and they're not.
Yeah. Do you hear that a lot? Do you hear that a lot of people lie?
Oh, yeah. Yes. The authenticity on the apps is probably one of the biggest complaints, you know?
Wow.
So I always encourage everyone, as soon as you get on, get off. Because as soon as there's like semi of a connection, whatever, then get off to explore that connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because the more you're on, they're built to be addicting.
Oh, 100%.
You know, they're not built to find love, even though I did find
that's
love
interesting.
on the apps.
It's
Do you
like
find
all
your guys-
social media stuff. I have been on I mean, I met my first husband on JDate, a Jewish dating.
Oh, there you go.
And by the time that I met him, I had already done it for, I think, I don't know if it was like a year or two or whatever. I mean, but my membership was about to be over. I had gone on, I can't tell you how many dates. I was living back in New Jersey, and I would take the train into New York City after work, going on one date with one doctor or this or that. I mean, one different guy after another. I mean, it was horrible. And then finally, he was like one of my last emails who reached out to me, and he lived in South Florida, and he put that he would relocate for the right person. And he obviously did. He relocated for me to New Jersey, but we met on a dating site. I mean, on JDate, and dating sites were difficult. I mean, the pictures were not, I would show up and be like, what the heck?
Catfish. That is real.
Or it was them, but it was them when they modeled for Abercrombie in like 25 years ago
100%,
when they had hair.
Yes.
And I was like, why didn't you update your freaking picture? Like,
I don't understand what
and what's so funny is that
thinking.
they'll ask you, if you don't look like your picture, I'm gonna leave. I look like my pictures.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that. Or they'll wonder, and then they show up and they're like,
and they look nothing like their picture.
I don't even know who you are.
So two-faced.
Yeah.
So two-faced.
It's really bad.
And so I think like it is bad, but the more we can just grasp the normalcy behind it, the more we can let it go.
Yeah.
Like, because it is normal these days.
It's like you almost have to set yourself up to know that chances are they're not going to look like their picture. Like I used to have to brace myself. I was pleasantly surprised that my ex-husband happened to be like a very good looking man. And when we met, he was a model. I mean, he was gorgeous. And so when he showed up to the airport to pick me up, because I went down to Florida for a date with him, I opened up his car door and I was like, oh, hi. Like I was actually like, you are a very attractive man. So I was like, I think I just met the man. And not that I only want to marry, but I'll have like kids with you because you're like handsome. Like you're like
pretty babies.
Like we'll make some good looking kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had many of the disappointment.
Yeah. But again, like I do the work. Like do the work beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, get on the FaceTime before the date.
Oh yeah.
Like seriously, like there's
I don't even think they had that when I was doing
probably
it.
not. No, yeah.
But
these days,
so my advice I used to even tell, because my brother was on it for a while, and I would be like, it's like 1, 2. It's like how many exchanges of it's like he can write you, he reaches out, you respond, and it's like don't. I've done it where it drags on and on and on and on,
gosh,
and then it's like it ends up being. It's a mess. It's like if you don't make a coffee date right
away,
coffee
date, we'll just be pen pals.
Yeah,
and I don't need pen pals.
Now I'll admit when I lived in Boca after college and I was on whatever, another Match.com or whatever, like I'm talking 20 years ago.
Yeah. Good for you, girl.
I used to make every date at Houston's, like this like restaurant in Boca.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how many dinners I would go on?
Yeah.
Yes. And like they'd be like, oh, where would you like to go? And I'm like, oh, let's go to Houston's. The Houston's people would see me like with a different guy.
He's like, Tuesday, I saw you like yesterday.
They're like every night of the week I'm having like another veggie burger. Like they're just like, Dana, the norm. I'm like, yeah. Like
absolutely.
But it was a lot of I stopped that because the dates got exhausting, the dinners.
It is.
And I was
anymore.
finally like, can we just meet for coffee and we'll sort this out like in 5 minutes. Like
If you're serious about it, if you just want a free meal, okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was out of college. I wanted a free meal.
I don't
that's
blame
something
you.
that happens though too. I mean, because some guys were like, because number one, I don't want to do that because that's a time commitment for me.
That's a big time.
I don't want to go to dinner.
I had time
on the
after
first
college.
date. I'll go to happy hour or coffee date because then I can exit quickly.
Oh yeah.
No, that's what I encourage too as well.
Yeah.
If you are because of whatever reason, because you both have kids or one of you travels a lot for work, and whatever, so be it. It's 2 weeks. That was my husband and I. It was 2 weeks before, we actually went on our first date. But like, at least we're in communication. Like we're talking, like we're actually getting to know each other before
And like
that.
you said, the FaceTime thing, because you can tell a
There's no
vibe
excuse
even
not
over
to.
FaceTime.
You
And
can.
let's be honest.
I did that.
Dana, you and I could text and like, let's say before we know each other, I could picture this personality about you, but it will never align to who you are in real life. So like, get on the texting.
I'm like, okay, I know that I like what you're texting me, but I don't know if I like the delivery. That could come from
So
because voice
miscommunicated.
is huge. You know,
100% the delivery.
I'm like, okay. You know,
yeah, there's so much that emojis can say.
Yes,
you know,
emojis, and then we get on a conversation and you know, or on a phone call, and you sound like Pee Wee Herman. You know, that's not going to go over real
then
well.
again, people,
right?
Gen X, is it Gen X below us?
Yeah,
they don't communicate. It's all through emojis, and so it's like, like if we were like a bunch of women in our like mid 20s, we probably saying it differently.
It's Gen X, but it's also even people who just are now kind of. I mean, I have that even with like. It'll be like work people or whatever, where it's still, or just people my age and they're very quick or choppy. And I get it that everyone's busy, but there's like, I'm like, just write me a couple words or a sentence, not send me a thumbs up. Like, I just feel that that's very disrespectful. Yeah. Like, just say like, okay, that sounds great.
Abbreviating everything. Yeah. That really drives me nuts. You know,
say it again?
Abbreviating everything. You know, that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids do that, and I'm like, guys, I don't know what that means. Like, what is YIDK or why I don't know? Or
so I know, right? All the can I get a book on that? Yeah. But I will say this though, people like initially you probably have to be texting a little bit before the first phone call. You know, again, don't let that drag on, but don't be judging how they text. I'm not kidding. People are like, oh, they didn't like spell this correctly.
Yeah, because I'd fire Kelley by now. The stuff that I'm like, what is she talking about? And then she's like, sorry, speaking into my phone. I'm like, I figured that.
That's
I'm like, I know
that's not me doing grammar because I'm so big on that. You know, the grammar and spelling is huge.
No, Siri makes us look like
a talking and I'll be like, I have no idea what she just said. That is not what I said, but that's what she typed.
Yeah, like I don't know. Everyone is different. Like, just do not. There's just so much judging going on in Datinglandia. I'm like, you don't even know the facts. Like, why are you judging? Oh, because they put their hair this way or they held their fork that way. Like, come on now. Like,
Greg and I were so judgy of each other. I mean, Greg, I mean, if I was Greg, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, Greg thought we have a podcast together that he thought he was like, I mean, we have a whole clip. He was like, I hated you on social media. He's like, I thought you were so dumb. He's like, I thought you were like a 3 out of 10. Like, and then he's like, so dumb. And then he's like, he goes, this girl from Jersey that wouldn't shut up. Like, he was like,
watch that one.
Oh my God. I was like, I thought you were like short and like not my type and like so like nerdy. Like, I was like, whatever this like guy, you know, I was like, oh, he's so not my type. And like,
how'd you connect again? Was it
we met at the gym? Like we at this training facility for like pro athletes. And so he and his business partner were like always having fun with my kids doing handstands and like all this stuff. And so I was like, well, that guy's cute. And I'm like, I don't know, he's my type or whatever. And, but I was like, and he's so like, he's like immature. Like he's doing cartwheels with the kids. I'm like, and then he asked me out and I'm like, oh God, like he's so not my type. My friends were like, oh, he's not your type. And then we go out and then he thought I wasn't his type too.
Okay. See, that fantastic. Is a prime example right there.
Yep.
Screw anyone's type.
Yeah, there's no types.
There is no type.
I realized
and Greg is absolutely the best thing that has ever happened to her.
100%.
I can tell without even knowing him.
Best thing.
I can tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, he's perfect for me.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And I never, if you had just said like pick him out of a room, like I would be like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
see, don't judge that book like at all. You never know. Like, at the end of the day, do your non-negotiables align? Like, do your value systems align? Like, clearly, without even knowing him, I know your interests and personalities align. Like, I know you guys can probably be goofballs, be in the gym, like, take your workout seriously, take your business seriously, you know.
And we complement each other, too. Yeah. Like, I can bring him into a goofy state and when he's serious and, you know, and vice versa. I mean, you know, it's like, it's a good, we're good for each other. But again, I was like, what the heck? Like, it was one of those, like, where I was like, my kids were with their dad for the first time. I was divorced for 2 months and I didn't have my dog yet. I was just like living alone in this big empty house. And like, he was like, hey, can I take you on a date? And I was kind of like, why not? Like, the guy's not really my type. Like, I'll meet him after the gym. And we went out for tacos and he thought, oh, she's going to be some like fitness chick who like eats only like a salad and like,
she ate everything.
And I ate all the chips. I ate everything.
And he was like, that, are
you? Yeah. And he was like, I didn't care. I also was myself because I was like, I have nothing to lose.
See, when you have
nothing to lose. I'm like, you gonna eat that? And I was like taking off his
Exactly. And he probably appreciated that.
He loved it because he's like, this girl's so cool. She's so down to earth. She's not dumb. Because he's like, what do you do? And I told him about my business. I told him about my family's business. And he was like, oh, this girl actually like has a brain. Like, that's cool. I thought she was an idiot.
Yeah.
And then, he just liked my personality. I was being myself. Yeah. So it was like,
beauty and brains.
And right?
Heck yeah.
And then he was like, oh, she's so into fitness. Because we both were like, I'm just letting you know that nothing comes in the way of my fitness. Yeah. And he was like, nothing comes in the way of my fitness. And I was like, perfect then. Because that was our non-negotiable. Like Kelley's religion is her religion. Our fitness is our religion. Like he's like, if he comes home and he's like, I'm going on a run and I made this beautiful dinner, like I know he's going on his run.
Yeah.
Like that's what he does 100%. And I cannot get in the way of that.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a beautiful understanding, you know? And especially that you guys share that. Again, you guys don't have to be like aligned personality-wise 100%. That's boring.
Yeah.
But like on those major things. So for example, you lead such a healthy, active lifestyle, so does he. But can you imagine being with someone who's like, can we just have like a Netflix and chill weekend? You're like, a weekend? Like I could have maybe afternoon, but like a weekend? Not like, that's insane. Like, okay, then you're not even spending time together because you're going to do your own thing, like fitness and active wise. But no, like I think at the end of the day, like you just have to have that part of your brain in love being open-minded. When you say, wow, like I didn't do it like this, before. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's going to probably give you different results. Now, one thing is going from black to white. Like, well, I actually did. but I'm not saying like you have to do that, but I'm saying like personality and everything. Why is it people are like, oh, I should just do the opposite? No, don't do the opposite. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. Then again, you're not spending time together. Like, share things in common, but you have to be open-minded to doing things different from your past.
Sure.
Because I mean, why do people get divorced like 2, 3, 4 times? It's like because they're not learning the lesson in their past. Like your past is there for the reason. It's a blueprint for your dating life. It teaches you what you require in a future partner.
So where are people meeting people now? Like you're a matchmaker. So how does this work with your matchmaking? Like how are you now? I know you're giving advice, but like where are people meeting? I know dating apps are a big thing, but like what are some other things?
There's still a thing,
I'm tuned in.
Yeah.
I'm tuned into this.
So you have to, I say, if you're intentional about dating, if you're serious about dating, if you are serious, like I'm ready to share my life with someone and like you've done the work, you have to exhaust all options.
Yeah.
Which means, yes, you need to be present on the dating apps. Yes, they take work. Yes, they're annoying. That is what they are. Yes, you need to be going out, doing whatever, volunteer projects. If you're involved in your church, check plus. If you're not religious, then, meetup groups, networking events. I can't tell you how many couples I've actually connected at networking events that I've been to, going to singles events, because they're usually put on by like a dating company or a matchmaker like myself, and you have at least someone who has your best interest at heart, like who can see things that maybe you can't see because it's a blind spot, So doing all that and networking with new friends, like jump outside of your friendship circle. Because I don't know if you have like other single friends that talk about how negative.
Oh my gosh, I went to a singles retreat once. I just remembered that.
Really?
I went to a Jewish singles retreat.
How was that?
And I went, it was a whole weekend where we took a bus and it was like in the Catskills or something. And it was like, there was nobody there for me, but I did all these fun activities. I did the trapeze. I made friends.
Gosh.
I sat around. I did a whole because I really wanted to meet someone. And
dating is huge. You guys are like, you're lucky you have such a community of like bigger than Christians, I think, because it's just this thing where like it's not as much as like Jewish wants to marry Jewish. That isn't as much as Christians. Like it is still, but not on the level. I feel like you guys have a lot more opportunities.
Yeah. I just joined up. I was like, I looked for, I did speed dating. Yeah. I went to dating events. I went into dating events in New York City. And I went, and so I started to do it when I lived in LA. And then my mom said to me, why are you trying to do that? Do you want to stay in LA? Because wherever you meet your man, chances are that's where he's from. Yeah. That's where he's going to want to stay. Or you're going to want to come home. So then I was like, I better get out of here. Yeah. So I moved home. And then I really buckled down and started doing events in New York. So like I said, I did that retreat. I went into the city. I did speed dating things.
What was your speed dating experience like?
It was fun. I remember for all of my dating, I never went on second dates. I went on a ton of dates.
Let's talk about that because that is a complaint I hear from a lot of women. They go on first dates and not second. So what happened?
It would be where even if the date was really nice and like we had like a nice time.
Yeah.
Because I went on a date with a successful doctor in New Jersey, and I thought he was great, but like I it's like we went on that date and then like, I think neither of us felt, it's like we had a great conversation and it was really cool and I learned a lot, but I didn't feel it was there for us. And I think he felt that too.
Okay.
Like, you know, so we both walked away where he didn't come after me. Like with Greg and, you know, with my ex-husband, like after our first date, they were both like, they were both chasing me and pursuing and asking. I mean, by the time that our next date, Greg was already asking me to go see a movie. He was trying to get me concert tickets. Like he was already coming up with another excuse to see me.
Yeah.
And
that's important.
And
though.
a woman
the man
that.
should pursue.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. That's what it's so messed up in society today that this whole equality thing with the in the dating thing. I mean, there's a certain level the man.
Yeah. How do you feel about
should
that?
Pursue.
How do you feel
I mean, the
about
woman,
that?
I don't have a problem with that, but initially, the man should pursue. If he's going to lead the family or the relationship, then he should pursue.
Let's say I'm, you know, a 34-year-old single woman, got my career together, got no kids. I am ready for the husband. I'm ready to make my family. I want to be intentional about my dating. So am I just going to wait till he pursues me, or am I going to take action and be going out and like saying, hey, like this was
I think
a really
it's not
good
a bad
time.
thing to put yourself out there, but then like once he knows that
If
you're
he knows
right?
that you're interested, then
There you
he
go.
should pursue.
Yeah.
Okay. But he should know that. I mean, if the date went well, or if you're messaging and you're you know after that, I have any issue with a woman texting, hey, I had a great time. You know,
Yeah.
that
No,
type of thing.
I understand.
Then he
Thank you so
knows
much for the dinner.
That's your confirmation. Okay. Then it's up to him, because if he doesn't have the cojones to make the next move.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially if you say thanks so much, I'd love to do it again.
100%.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
And that if he doesn't, that's your answer.
If
that's
you
your
open the
answer.
door and he doesn't walk through it, that's bad on him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
his
No,
problem.
I 100% agree. Like at that point, it's like, yeah, make the initiative, you know,
Yes.
take the lead, which a woman wants that. Like we want that not only just for in that experience, we want that long-term in the relationship.
Yes.
Like a woman doesn't want to be wearing the pants, you
No.
know? That we don't.
Because
I
if
don't.
you know if you know that you can walk on them or walk all over them,
Yeah.
then
How do you have respect?
then that's
for
if
them?
there's no
Mhm.
It's
respect.
tough
And
to
if there's
have
no
respect
respect, then it's already done.
No, be the man,
Regardless of whether or not you
100%.
stay together or whatever, the relationship is over.
But so here I'm hearing equally single men talk about the complaints of dating single women, and men say they are sick of carrying the conversation or having the expectation of carrying the conversation. You know, where it's like that I believe in the beginning should be 50-50, where it's like the man needs to be asking more, how are you? How's your, no, way more than that.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
WYD. What does that even mean?
I don't even know.
what are you
What
doing? Is that what are you doing? Yeah.
I'm grown.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm a grown woman.
Yeah, that's
I
what
have
I'm
plans.
doing.
That's what
You
I'm
know,
doing.
Yeah.
That's stupid. No. But as far as like getting to know each other, that's an equal street. And but men, I sometimes hear they get the complaint like they have to be the one absolutely carrying the conversation, and women aren't. You know, they're just expecting the man to do it all. You know, and I don't agree with that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of double standards in dating. Everyone wants their cake and eat it too. At the end of the day, look at yourself in the mirror. Like, look at yourself in the mirror. Your expectations that you want from someone else, are you meeting those own expectations for yourself? You know, like
I remember once I knew that Greg was interested in me, I felt like it wasn't a bad thing to throw him little carrots. Like it didn't all have to come from him. So like, even if it was during the day, if something cute came up, or if, you know, we had a conversation about something. So say we were talking about my parents' company and some product that they make. And then I would like send him like if I saw something and I'd say like, hey, this is what I was talking about. And I'd like send him the picture just to kind of like, it wasn't me pursuing, but like going in on it, but it was like, hey, I'm still here. Hey, do you want to? And then if he would say, oh, that's really good. And he asked me a question.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was
a
like,
little
but
bait,
that's-
a little
but that's
bait.
good.
Yeah.
a little bait. Right.
Definitely.
It was
Like, what is he going to do with that? Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
And like, if he was
smart
just
to
like
do.
thumbs up,
opening
I
the
would be
door,
like,
opening the window. You know,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna see what happens here. So yeah, no, I think that's
right.
Yeah, like are his
Completely.
words also matching? Just is everything in alignment?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, he's saying he really likes me, all that. Like, is that matching up with the day to day, which is like the minutia, which actually really matters?
right.
The details, you know, where it's like, are we checking in on each other, you know? Like, and again, but I think there's so much value in asking, because so many complaints about dating is like the communication or the lack of communication. Why don't you just say what your expectations around communication from the beginning?
Oh, you know what's interesting
Okay,
though,
hold on.
that I just wanted to tell you ladies? The one thing with Greg, and I never forgot this, when Greg works and he's at work, he's serious. Like he's not a guy who's like screwing around at work. Like he's focused.
Or let's
and
talk.
I remember he's not texting me from work. And to this day, if we communicate during the day when we're at work, it'll be very quick. And it's not that he doesn't love me to death. It's that like he needs to be focused. He's on Zooms, he's on calls, he's working. And he's a lot of times when he's focused, I could say something to him and he won't even answer me because his brain is focused. So I remember when we first started dating, it was like in the morning or something, and I sent him something. And then I remembered where he didn't say anything, whatever, but he said something about where he'll have to get it to later. He's really inundated with work, or it was something like that. And I kind of got a vibe where I'm like, okay, this guy is not one of those guys who is
small talk all day.
Small talk all day.
Yeah.
He's focused. But then when he would get home from work at the end of the day, he would text me, hey, I'm about to go on a run. Like, can I call you later? And then I'd be like, oh, that's
Which
cool.
is great.
Nice.
Yeah. Very nice.
And then that night, he never not called. He always would call to this
Follow
day.
through is super important.
Always follow.
Yeah.
And he would say, I didn't forget about you. I'm going to go on a quick run and I'll call
So
you.
meaningful.
Yeah.
So meaningful. Like, and that's all you need. The little 2 cents.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking of you, but I can't talk now.
Yes.
Right.
You know? And then you talk to me, and then you say when you can talk, and then you talk.
So it's reading the signs, because it wasn't that Greg wasn't interested. It wasn't that it was that Greg is not one of those guys. Greg is a guy who is a busy man. He's focused at work, and he doesn't care about the BS chit chat.
Yeah, during the day.
But when he was focused on me and he'd come home from work, he usually FaceTime me. It wasn't even a call. And he would be done. He'd take a shower after his run, and we would chit chat about our day, and he would give me all of his attention, and then we'd say goodnight. And so that was his time when he's like, I can speak to the girl that I'm dating or the woman I'm dating, and this is when I can give you that time. And then he once said to me, I love it that you have your own stuff, because it didn't affect me for a minute. I'm like, I'm busy as heck too.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
But I love that you respected that.
Yes.
You picked up on his vibrations, which I will be honest, for all the listeners, that is way more of a female attribute to do typically.
Yeah.
And then we expect the men to do the same, and they can't.
No.
Unless you communicate it.
And I don't want people to read
seriously.
it wrong, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, he's not paying attention to me, or he ghosted me all day. No, Greg isn't ghosting me. He's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference.
there's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it's healthy that you had like so much of your own stuff going on, but it's more than above everything that you picked up what he put down. Like you picked up on his vibrations, which a lot of women would be like, why is he ignoring
because in
me?
the beginning, here's the thing. In the beginning, because of maybe some things I dealt with in the past, I would always be like, is it because he's talking to somebody else?
Yeah.
Is it because he's got something else going? And really, I would be like, no, like it wasn't, obviously, but like our woman minds are assuming the worst sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, but you got to check that ego.
Yeah.
Is it la loca de la casa talking? Who is it? Or is it the real you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a girlfriend. She is dating someone with kids. She's never dated anyone with kids. And it is so hard for her that he can't drop everything in a minute and talk to her on the phone. Yeah. I'm like, I told you this when you first started dating. Like having someone with kids, by the way, 3 kids, ages 5 all the way up to like 11. These are young kids.
Yeah. Sorry. That's what mine were when I started dating Greg.
I mean, you know what it's like. Like it's like, when we're on with the kids, you're on with the kids.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, you're making dinner right now. No, like, I can call you maybe at 9 when they all go down. Like, and if then we probably beep, but still like, and I just would like, she's still not picking up on that. No, above all, she's still not respecting that.
Oh,
which
that's tough.
Yeah, because she needs the communication. All her past relationships, she would always be like, hey, I'm going to call you like the 15 minutes on the way to work or this or that. Like, she doesn't understand why he doesn't call her right away.
She needs that constant.
For me, I think there needs to be a blend of both, because I don't think he's really doing that for her, but I think she also needs to understand that. And also, he owns like multi-million-dollar businesses. Like he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
That drove me crazy. I don't want to have to babysit somebody. Yeah. I mean, I don't have to talk to somebody all day long.
But
and that's a lot
that?
of love. If he's a grown man needing that.
Do you think he like?
Oh, I mean, role reversing. I know you're right.
Role reversing.
A grown man would need to. I mean,
it's rare.
I think that if they need that, then maybe they haven't dealt with something. Why would they need to be in constant communication with me all day?
Yeah,
are there trust issues?
100%.
Is there something in your past that you haven't dealt with?
I think it stems from that. I honestly think that's. I've asked, why do you need the conversation?
That would make me, a constant text or something. I'm like, I'm working. I'm working.
But she does it with her friendships too. Like it's not just a romantic. Like she'll always call me at usually 8 or 8:30. Like I know it's because she's on her way to work and just like chit chat.
Like needs to be talking to someone or connect. Yeah,
there's some validation issues there. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
there is.
Yeah,
approach though.
But it's
it's
tough.
Yeah,
but and then. Yeah, to bring it into a relationship.
I mean, if we would have had this conversation 5 years ago, it would not be going this way. I mean, just for me, because it took me a while to deal with a lot of those things.
Amen. As it does for a lot of people.
So,
but I think at the end of the day,
it's completely different.
Like the only person we need to be accountable is to ourselves. And you have to, all dating is looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, why haven't I attracted that person yet? Like what is it? And again, it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's a willingness to tweak something. And I mean, for everyone, it's different. For everyone, like for some people, it's like looking back in their past and facing those skeletons in their closet, which I think my friend, like I think that's happened, with her, like that she's just not addressing like insecurities from her past, but what is it like, or is it like the lack of boundaries that like maybe you hadn't set before in the past and now we need to is the communication, is it building upon your communication style, and making it clearer, more direct? As women, we usually don't talk in straight lines, but men would really like that. We talk in more direct straight lines, it's just getting better at being yourself. I always say, if you want love, just be more love. Be more love.
Yeah. It's not easy. And like you said, in the world, it's with as much technology now, you'd think it'd be maybe easier. But like you said, with all of the mistrust and the stuff that with the dating apps, it's just not. It's
creating facades, and then you got the scams.
Yeah. Well, it's making it also easy for a lot of women and men, women, whatever, to also kind of have a whole racket game going where they have. I mean, when right in between my marriage and dating, starting to date Greg or whatever, it's like I was kind of involved and with dating, and I noticed that it was like people want to date a lot of people at once.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know how to nicely say that.
That's another thing. No. Okay. So I'm a proponent of dating multiple people at once.
Okay.
I am. Because why put all your eggs in one basket?
Okay.
There's less likelihood of attachment, and for at least females, that's a big thing.
Okay.
Is dating with attachment, and you're less likely to be as attached when you're multiple people.
So but basically just going on dates. You're saying like go on this date, doing that. Because I did that where it was just going to dinner one night with someone, go to a dinner another night. Because it's like, how can you
you're
just
not involved with
you're not involved.
People.
We're not like in something heavily. It's just that we're going on these light dates.
I mean, I was seeing 4 people when my husband and I got together. And then he asked me like after, I'll be honest, after a month, he's like, are you seeing other people? I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
Seeing other people. And he's like, okay, I understand. Like, I'm recently divorced. Like, I am free for the first time in like 10 years, And it's not because like I need to have parties like all the time. Like, that's nothing. But like, I'm learning so much even more about myself. But I created a dating plan. After my divorce, I created my own dating system because I want to be able to measure success and measure if I was making results or the lack of, And so I compiled of like, what's like 3 components. Like 1, knowing your past and really truly addressing those major issues from your past, because it takes 2 to tango, my friends, and it's not they're the crazy ones. No, like
right. We both
have to be able to point the finger at yourself,
and really see like what did I do, and what was also in the dynamic of our relationships or patterns that I helped build, the standards that I helped. He treated me because I taught him how to treat me. So how
right. So what mistakes did we make from our last relationship that failed? Obviously, we got divorced. Okay, it didn't work out.
What's the lesson?
So then, what was the lesson? And then, are we bringing that now into? Because the funny thing is like when I started thinking about who my type was and who I was looking for. Okay, well, I mean, what am I say? Polar opposite of my ex? Of course not. There were some redeeming things. The reason why I married him.
Yeah, of course.
But then, what didn't work?
Yeah.
What really was I looking for? Where were our weak spots? And then I was probably to blame for some of those things. I mean, I can't blame it all on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like, so then when I was looking for who my new person, when I go on a date, it was like, was I looking, I didn't, you don't want to look for a carbon copy. You don't want to look for a complete opposite, but it's like, what, it's a hard, so it's not a bad idea because that was the thing. Kissing like a lot of frogs. I mean, you don't even really have to kiss them, but you know what I mean? Like to find your prince, it's like, you've got to go out and then red flags.
And then it's so much easier to hit the target when you can see the target clearly. So another component was like really drawing down those non-negotiables. Like, and it can't be more than like 8 things. Like it should ideally be 5 to 8, And again, it's not like, well, I really want them to be trustworthy. Like those are obvious. Everyone wants someone to be trustworthy,
Yeah.
Like in a really hardcore, like what is it that they have to have? Like, for example, I could never be with someone who, didn't own a passport. Like, I'm sorry. Wait, so
Same, yeah.
they don't need to have like global entry. I had once had a client who was like, they have to have global entry. I'm like, that's ridiculous. But anyways, they had to have a passport. It's like they value education outside of their norm. That says, I mean, I could go on the list of things that it says about the person, but that was a non-negotiable for me. Maybe it's not for everyone, and that's okay, But knowing really truly like what I require in the next person, and then also like the vision for the future. Where do I see this like relationship going? How do I see it evolving? Because in the 10 years I was with my ex, like I was like, didn't see it working out that way. So I need to be very, very vividly clear on how I want this relationship to look like in 5 years. Exactly. And communicate that.
Yes.
And you communicate that. So yeah, it landed me the love of my life in a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it worked, dating apps.
Nobody likes to brag or Mary Kate.
Yeah. No, but it works, but it works.
But I had things that maybe sounded silly, like, one of my it was I couldn't be with a guy who like loved cats, and I'm deathly allergic to cats.
Oh wow!
And now I'm an animal lover, but I can't. We had outdoor cats growing up, but the dander. Getting even somebody who has cat hairs on them. If I was hugging him and then I got cat hair on me, and I mean I would say where my eyes would swell up, and so on profiles the guy could look amazing, and it would be like pets, cats, and it was clicked.
I can't see you with a cat man.
No, Greg's not a cat man. And then the other thing is like then one time I went to New York City, and it was I mean I don't know why I did this, but I met the guy at his apartment, which is like I can't. I mean my mom would like strangle me if she knew I did that. And he opened the door and like he had like cats, and he had like a television show on, and he had to leave for the cat, and he was like feeding the cat on the counter.
Gosh, he's a cat man.
And he let his cat eat on the counter, which I was like, and so like the whole thing, like, so I was like, okay, this date is over before. So I was like, and I'm standing there like, we didn't even leave yet. And he's preparing to leave. I'm like, how do I get out of here? And like, I was the whole night I knew like, I've got to exit, and I made dinner, like plans to eat tapas with this dude. Like, are you kidding me?
That is
so I had like, but that would seem to somebody might say like, oh, you're going to judge a guy because of that. But like, yeah, like this guy's obsessed with cats.
That's just my non-negotiable. There's a difference. I'm not judging anything. It's my non-negotiable. It's mine. I'm owning it. So you don't get to pick that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't get to pick that. This is my story.
Yeah, that's mine.
I'm not going to judge yours.
I do put on YouTube baby animals for Jagger when I babysit.
No, that's fine.
And for,
I mean,
Tink has
but you
them
don't
on
let them
right now,
eat on your kitchen counter. Like if you like lifted up Jagger to be like, put your feet and
I mean, he can sit at the chair. He can sit at the table.
That's fine. But you know what I mean? Like,
deep.
No, and it was fine. It was just where I was like, oh wow. But what I was saying was that he loved his cats so much. So clearly, for him, he wouldn't say, no, let me get rid of my cats for you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you love the animals because you're putting on. That's how I knew how much she loved them.
Actually, no, because there's, I mean, countless dog people in the world like that. I mean, that's dog people's.
And then I loved it that Greg was a major dog issue.
I mean, and they're not negotiable, so that's not even.
Yes, and I loved it that Greg was a major dog lover because I had just gotten Jagger, and I sent, and that was something what I did right after our first date. It wasn't long. I got Jagger like a few weeks later. We hadn't even been on another date yet, I think, because we waited a few weeks before our next date, and I sent him a picture of this puppy that I got. And when he was like, oh, so cute. And then he like was really like excited and interested. I was like, okay, then this guy, then we'll keep going on a date. But if he was like,
Greg was probably the best thing to happen to Jagger too. I mean, he's got great manners now.
Yeah, new puppy.
Really good.
Oh yeah, no. So now Jagger's gonna be Big 5. Bugs. Greg's been his dad since the beginning. You know, we started dating. Like I got Jagger right after I met Greg. So
just like a month or something. Right after,
a few weeks
because it was Hanukkah.
November 20th was our first date, and December 13th is when I brought home Jagger. So it was like, yeah.
And let me ask you, Dana, how has it been, blending, now they have a stepdad, with your kids? How has that been?
Greg took things very slow, and Greg timed our whole relationship, which I owe a lot of it to him. Like he let everything happen like on the kids' terms and the kids' times. He did put like when the first time he never ever slept over for like a really long time. And then the first time he ever slept over with the kids there, he slept in the guest room. I mean, and this is like months and months into our relationship. Like he really was respectful. He slept in the guest room like for a lot of times, and then he'd be up and dressed and like already in the living room by the time the kids even woke up, because he didn't want them like coming down and being like, what's this guy doing
Greg
here?
Is fantastic.
Yeah,
he really is.
Yeah. So he did everything right. He paced everything right.
Good.
I mean, he really respected. I mean, even
And they
like
love him.
Even like the display of affection, like he wouldn't be overly like touchy with me because like he'd see their eyes like, why are you touching my
Glowing.
mom?
Yeah.
So, you know, so it was like he would just like do nice things to me, showing that like, or he'd give me like a really nice hug, but he wasn't like trying to like be disrespectful in front of the kids ever. So now, I mean, now that we've been together for so long, like the kids are used to it. But in the beginning, like if he came in and would just give me like a kiss, they'd be like, hey, and then we'd be like, okay, guys, like relax. You know, like
at their pace.
Bryce
like,
would come through and be like, break it up, and we'd be like, okay, guys, like, you know, now it's like going to be 5 years. I'm like, okay, guys, now they're like, okay, they're desensitized, but you know, but yeah, no, it was it was a slow process.
And I'm a big believer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big believer in the slow burn connection, where these days, you know, people are trying to rush this like instantaneous like chemistry where it's like, oh my gosh, no, you wouldn't understand the way that he touches me or the way that he talks to me, or like,
oh yeah,
it's been like 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Like
girl.
No, but you wouldn't understand. No, I do understand because we've all been a little.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
with the hot chemistry.
Grown, I mean, that's what I don't understand. That
Greg and I were 100% slow burn. Like we were not that hot and heavy because Greg isn't even like that anyway. He's not. He did not come on hard like that. He wasn't. He's never done like the sexting talk or the pictures or the inappropriate. I never none of that. So like that's not what he was about. So we didn't have this like hot, heavy, whatever. It was like a slow burn.
That's because like, okay, my daughter's 30, but when she was, you know, I guess dating like right out of high school and stuff like that, it was just like that. I was like, you've known each other 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why are you saying love you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that.
Like how? Like your brother? Or
like
something
that's like
that?
little kid stuff. Like that's like in high school and college.
What do you mean? You don't even know what love is.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's the time you can get away with it. But then after that,
high school,
but then there are men that are still doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
That are like,
you're
like, that's narcissist. That's
and then what was that
red flag
that y'all told me? What was
red
that
flag?
thing that one guy did to me? Gaslighting.
Another version of narcissism.
That was horrible. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
From my
I dealt with a major narcissist. I know
the
that.
one that I dealt with on my birthday. Remember when that he was doing that?
Yep.
What'd you call it? I guess it was both love bombing and gaslighting.
Narcissist is. We should do a whole episode on that.
Oh yeah, it's an issue.
My God,
it's disgusting.
It was nuts. It's like they're good. They're so good at it, and they go so fast. And
they fill the voids and all the stuff.
You're like, I don't even know what's happening.
They're like dancing.
That's what they do.
How did we get from I just met you to we're in a relationship,
and they give you this
what
sense.
I've not even met you.
Yep.
They give you the sense that they know you because they remember a few details, and then they'll happen to bring them up again, and then it's telling like your nervous system, like, oh my,
not only that, they're sharing
they're
sharing pertinent details with you, like their children's names and things like this, and
sending you pictures probably like that you didn't ask for. That you're like, oh, but like he's going to make you feel like you're closer now because he's sending you these, intimate
that there's
pictures,
a connection, and
family.
Like, it's a
they want to fast track it to suck you in so quickly. So those are the red flags with dating because I had dealt with a major narcissist and major narcissist. And so when I started dating Greg, oh my God, I kept looking for every flag because I was so scared to get involved with another one. And when Greg seemed so great and amazing, I was like looking, where's the flag?
Don't try to pick
where's the thing.
Yeah. Nothing has to be wrong.
No. I mean,
but it taught you something.
But for a long time, I was so scarred from dealing with a narcissist and I'm talking about triangulation. I mean, you name it. It was textbook. It messed with my nervous system. I was so messed up. It was scary. I was actually scared that if I even saw his phone number come up on my phone, I had an adrenaline rush. My stomach would hurt. I mean, it was where this person was so toxic.
I remember some of those.
It was so scary.
They'd be like gone, and then just like a random text or something like that. I said, I told you to block that number.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
they
ghost
you.
But then he would call. He would text from a different number or something, and do that to her, and then it would scare her. And then we're on.
You need
we're
me
going back
and all
and
this
forth.
stuff, and make you feel like you can't live without them.
Exactly.
Don't
you want to
respond,
build a
block
sense
that
of like
one.
dependency that you have on them. but they do it with like certain actions. Again, it's the love bombing in the beginning. So now that they can emotionally tie you
So
in.
that's a red flag. I just like everyone to look out for. If somebody comes on too hot, too heavy, too soon,
red
talking
flags.
about
Huge red flags.
the house you're going to buy together when you were on your second date, like
or trips. Or any of that kind of stuff. And you're like, I don't even know if I can be in the same room with you for 30 minutes right now. Why are we talking about trips?
Because they say everything that typical women want to hear.
Right.
It's like, want to be taken care of. Because he knew
what I was going through. Like they usually prey on very vulnerable people.
Yes,
like if you're in a vulnerable time, like if you're going, like I was going through a divorce and and he knew the things I needed and was looking for the voids. So they quickly try to fill them for you. And you're like, oh my God, you're everything that I needed. You're everything I was missing.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's complete. Like, just if it's moving too fast, if it's moving at warp speed, slow it down, pump the brakes, look at the facts. What do you really know about this person?
Yeah.
What do they really know about you? This is all just fake. This is all illusion that they're feeding you. Yeah. Stop like looking at their movie, pay attention to your own movie and look at the facts. So I always say with dating, what are the facts? What do you know about this person? What do you like about this person? Stop being so concerned if they like you. Do you like them? I think
that's good.
That's another thing that people are so infatuated that, oh man, she likes me so much.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to be liked. Everyone does. Especially in this like fairy tale. He's treating me like a princess, That's our idealistic.
Do you actually like him?
Exactly. What do you really know about him?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. Just he treats you like a princess. That's all that matters. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
That's temporary.
That will wear off.
Yes,
yeah, that'll wear off.
What do
fast.
you think? One of my, how much time do we have? Yeah, okay, we have like 10 minutes. What do you think about money wise, like equality of like how much? Because this is an interesting one. Because there are some people who feel like the man needs to have all the money and needs to provide, but yet there are women who make a lot of money and the man will never make what the woman makes. Yeah. But does that mean that they're not a good couple? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, where, right?
You make the rules.
Okay.
You and your partner make the rules, period. I don't care what society says. I don't care how your parents did it. You make the rules and what fits best for your relationship dynamic. Period. What happens is everyone's comparing their relationship, their pseudo relationship, to other people's relationship or how it should be. Stop shitting all over yourself because it's stupid. Yeah. You really make the rules. Like for example, and Andrew and my like dynamic, like I like to generally cook more. Yeah, women like to cook. Like I genuinely like to cook, so I do most of the cooking, There's a time when we were like in between like landscapers. So I did the mowing because he was working 80 plus hours for that time. Like when
you're mowing the lawn and it just was what it was.
I wasn't working 80 plus hours. He went from like being one, director role to a more senior director, and it just was crazy for him for a while, So I'm like, okay, there's more time. And then like next month I was like, we're hiring that landscaping company, but I didn't I had the time, so it's like not because he's the man that he should be doing it. It's like, yeah, that just made more sense. So why? And you're stressed beyond all get up. Why am I going to try to make you more stressed?
Yeah.
So you make the rules. Period. Again, but my story is because people get in these gender profiles. The man should do this. The woman. What feels right in your relationship?
But what about paying for things? Do you feel?
Oh, in the beginning of dating. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I believe in courtship. I do believe in courtship. I do believe that the man should be putting their best foot forward at least those first 3 or 4 dates, And then after what feels, again, because maybe you guys are on the same pay grade. Is that always fair that he's paying everything, the arm and the leg, If it's
I think that would naturally evolve in after you, if you've gone on 4 or 5 dates, you kind of have an idea as to whether or not you would like to pursue a relationship.
Right.
So if you're trying to plan other activities that may be outside of a certain norm,
right.
That conversation would come up at that time, I think.
And it's fun.
Now in a marriage, I believe that there is no 50-50. I think it's 100-100. So it doesn't matter whose pay grade is what. When you're in a marriage, you're together.
Right.
Yeah, you're together.
And that's where you figure out the norms. That's
you
where
have an income and I have an income. It's we have an income as a unit.
Yeah, and we're going to do, both of us are going to do whatever we need to do to make this a thriving, happy, blended family in our case. But as far as the dating, in the beginning, you want to do fun things together. Let's go jet skiing. Let's do, things that you're probably not going to be doing after a year in, but it's fun, different date ideas. Share it, share it. It is, but also be upfront as well. I know a woman who I had to tell the man because he was always suggesting things, and she's like, and she had just gone through a door. She's like, I can't afford this. I just want to let you know, I can't. If you would like to pay by all means. And then
So being honest about this is my budget.
Absolutely.
Like I don't have the budget.
And it was a green light, and then he paid for everything. And it was not a problem. It was not a problem. It wasn't like because taking the Michelin star restaurants every night, but it's like, hey, we want to do fun things together. I have no problem paying.
That's fantastic. I don't even know her, but I'm proud of her for saying that. You know, because I'm a big budgeter.
That was me.
So, was it you? Okay.
Because after my divorce, I was like, I got a budget.
Yeah, I budget. You know, I have a line item budget, so that's how it is.
Recalculating all the bills and like all that. You know, it's like I had done my estimations, but I wanted to cross all my boxes. I mean, cross all my T's and dot my I's. You know, so I was like, I'm sorry, like and it was like no questions asked. Like fine. Which that's great. I mean, that you were upfront and said, that's huge. And so many people don't want to say that. They don't want to say,
and you get what you ask for. Like if you have to say what it is.
You know what I always say? Like from the get go, put your cards on the table.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose? So someone's not going to pick them up.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. Then they're not right for you.
Right.
Again, and some people mistake this advice with like, oh, I should just tell them everything about my past. No.
You're gonna like spill your
place. No. So put your cards on the table. This is who I am. You know, this is what I'm looking for in a relationship. I respect you if you're not looking for the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. No judgment. We don't owe each other anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Put your cards on the table.
Wholeheartedly with that.
Yeah. I mean, I never regretted it, and it got me everything I wanted. So. Yeah.
Do you think that you should? It's funny because sometimes I hear about, my mom will say about my mom's first marriage to my dad, and they were together for 25 years or whatever. And, she'll say like, and they were working a lot, building their life and their company and everything. But then she'd say like, oh, I should have gone to more baseball games with him. I should have done, more shows with him. I should have done, because those were things my dad wanted to do. But meanwhile, my mom was like, home doing all the stuff. My dad wasn't doing all the mowing the lawn and doing the stuff, like all the things that my mom was doing. She was taking care of everything. So she was exhausted. She was tired. She was, and she's like, well, but then I'm like, Mom, you hate ball games and you hate Broadway and you hate that. So it's like she's kicking herself to save her marriage or to save a relationship that maybe like, do you think somebody should sacrifice who they are and what they like to do?
So relationships, there's compromise, period.
Yeah. Okay.
There's compromise,
so you've got to
period.
like pick and choose.
Pick and choose, but be honest. So for example, because this relates to your mom's situation. For example, my husband, he is the opposite of me in this. He's not sociable. Like he can be sociable. He can turn it on, but it's exhausting for him because he's an introvert, you know? So he runs meetings and presentations all day, every day, for his work. So he gets home and he's like, okay, we'll chit chat for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes. He's like, and then he's like, I gotta digress. And then he like does this, he goes into his cave and he reads or whatever he's got to do,
Yeah.
But he knows that I'm more of a social butterfly. So he's like, one weekend, and he's like, one Saturday night, he's like, don't ever book anything for me Fridays, because Friday I want to digress and that's just going to be my day. So he communicated that to me. I'm not like, why can't you go out Friday and Saturday? You've been working all week. Why can't you do this? No, he's at least communicating, hey, if we're going to do something, it'll be Saturday night, not during the day. So Saturday I can still like get crap done,
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm so glad that he did that. So now I respect that boundary.
Yeah.
So imagine if your mom had said something like, hey, I know that going to shows or going baseball games is meaningful to you. What if you pick one weekend a month and we do that,
Yeah.
Right.
But the other
Not
weekends,
like all
I'm
the time.
probably going to be like recharging my batteries because I was
or getting
6
other stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like one of the things that especially early on when I think that's why I put all my cards on the table like from the get go now is because when you're younger you want to be pleasing to that
100%,
other person.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
You do.
So you're like you may start going to games or you're
like
going to all
him.
these
It's
things
what he
or you're
likes.
exactly
Pretending you're something that you're not.
You want to go and you want to do
Exhausting.
these things and then you get married and you're like, why do we have to go to the lake every weekend?
Yep.
I
rode a motorcycle
run
for my ex-husband, and I didn't want to be on a motorcycle.
One of the things that as you get older, you
You
realize that it's just okay. It's just have to be who I am.
100% because it's going to come back to pay you.
Yeah,
Yes.
stay true to yourself and your
absolutely.
And also,
wants
it's
and
not
desires.
it's not fair to them because 6 years later,
That's
the
what they're
true you comes
expecting.
out and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Who
but
are you?
always,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this
You
has been
always like this.
amazing. I love this conversation.
Yeah, it was
This is
fun.
so good.
Yeah, good
fun.
stuff.
I hope everybody took a little something away from it.
Yeah.
And we should do this again. I that narcissist thing brought up, I was like, oh
know.
God, I'd love to just extra. I feel like I need to do my part to just like help. Because it's like anytime I've like helped other people by sharing my story and they're like, oh my gosh, that was me. And like, that's something that, because other people helped me through it who knew.
We're going to do a social experiment and she's going to let her have a month with me and see what she can do.
Yes. Oh my God, we should.
Let's do it. We're going to talk about it.
I want Kelley to find her true love. Yay.
We're going to come up with your dating plan. You know what?
Let's do it.
No, my matchmaker up in West Palm, who I'm dear friends with, we are going to be booking in July. So not till July, Fort Lauderdale.
Ooh, fun. Kelley will be there.
Yep.
There.
Okay.
You're invited.
I'm committed.
I'll help dress her.
Yeah.
She'll look fabulous.
Okay, I'm definitely going.
Yes.
If Dana's dressing me, I'm going.
Well, thank you so much for being here,
Dana,
Mary
so much for having me.
I love this.
Yeah.
Kel, thanks for
really
being
fun.
on and sharing. And thank you all for joining in to another episode of Until It's Done, a Devoted podcast.